he vanished from television without a goodbye. The beloved face of Bewitched, Darrin Stephens, played by Dick Yorks, simply disappeared from the spotlight. But the truth behind his disappearance was more heartbreaking than fans ever imagined. Behind the smile and wit of the charming AD executive was a man fighting unimaginable pain, financial ruin, and a slow, lonely decline. And what became of the house where he took his final breath? He was once one of television's most recognizable stars, but in his final years, he was barely able to breathe. Confined to a modest home that would later fall into complete abandonment. What happened to Dick York? How did a beloved sitcom star end up sick, penniless, and forgotten? This is the powerful and tragic true story of Dick York, the man who brought magic to the screen but lived through very real suffering behind it. Before Hollywood fame, before illness and heartbreak, there was love. Dick York met Joan Joey Barbara Alt during his early days in radio. She wasn't just his partner in life, she was his partner in purpose. Their home wasn't just filled with scripts and screenplays, it echoed with children's laughter, family dinners, and resilience. They married on November 17, 1951, in a modest, love-filled ceremony, built not on glamour, but on shared dreams and values. When Dick's back injury on the set of They Came to Cordura would later spiral into chronic pain, addiction, and job loss, it was Joan who stood unwavering. Through stardom and financial struggle, she remained his anchor, his caregiver, and his reason to fight. Together, they raised 5 children: Kim, Mandy, Stacy, Christopher, and Matthew. Joan was the glue that held everything together. At the height of his fame on Bewitched, Dick and Joan York lived in a Spanish-style home on Scenic Avenue in the Hollywood Hills. With 4 bedrooms, arched windows, and stunning views of the city, it was the perfect balance of elegance and comfort. This 1928-built home wasn't just a house, it was a safe harbor. Just minutes from the Sunset Gower Studios, it allowed Dick to manage his painful commute during worsening back problems. The Yorks raised their children in that home, with a modest backyard pool that brought relief to Dick's aching body and joy to their family. Inside, the home was filled with warmth, both literal and emotional. Family photos, shared stories, and quiet moments kept them grounded, even as Dick's career reached its peak. But behind the scenes, his physical health was deteriorating. In 1986, Dick and Joan made a decision that would define their final chapter. They left California and moved to a humble home on Belding Road in Rockford, Michigan. The move wasn't for fame or opportunity, it was for love. Joan's aging mother needed care, and the couple stepped up. Far from Hollywood, this small home became their world, and Joan, ever devoted, managed logistics, care, and compassion. Their living room became a mission, proof that even in suffering, purpose could shine. By now, Dick's health had collapsed. Years of smoking had caught up to him. Emphysema robbed him of breath, energy, and independence. He was tethered to an oxygen tank, bedridden, or confined to a recliner. But inside that quiet home, something extraordinary happened. From his bed, surrounded by family photos and medical equipment, Dick launched a charity called Acting for Life. Using only his phone, he became a voice for the homeless and forgotten. He called politicians, churches, and businesses, asking them to help those in need. His voice, once used for radio and sitcoms, now became a force for good. Before the pain, before the fame, Dick York was a boy from Chicago with a special gift: his voice. A Catholic nun was the first to notice his vocal talent. She encouraged him to pursue broadcasting, and by the age of 15, Dick was already starring on That Brewster Boy, a hit CBS radio show of the 1940s. He suffered a violent back injury that would derail his life forever. Lifting a heavy actor during a stunt, York tore the muscles along the right side of his back. The pain would never leave him again. His early success eventually led him to New York. Skilled actor, he acted alongside legends like Glenn Ford and Rita Hayworth. His film career was rising fast until tragedy struck, where he performed on Broadway in Tea and Sympathy and Bus Stop. He went on to appear in hundreds of radio shows and training films. Mastering the craft of voice and timing, York became known as a serious. While filming, they came to in 1964, Dick York landed the role that would make him a household name, Darrin Stephens in Bewitched. As the bewildered husband of a suburban witch, York brought heart, humor, and charm to the role. Viewers loved him, critics applauded him, and in 1968, he earned an Emmy nomination. But the pain never stopped. Scripts were rewritten to show him lying down. In some episodes, he didn't appear at all. He leaned on slanted set walls between takes. His fever was sky high. He'd been on antibiotics for days on set. As the lights flickered for a special effect, he grew dizzy and fell into a violent seizure so intense, he bit a hole through his tongue. One day during season 5, while filming the episode Daddy Does His Thing, York collapsed, and just like that, he walked away. That night, from his hospital bed, he quietly told the director, "If it's all right with you, Billy." What followed was devastating. York's back pain worsened, the painkillers multiplied, the hallucinations began, bagpipes playing endlessly in his mind, whispers from the walls, blinding flashes from the television. He would convulse and bleed, Joan placing her hand in his mouth to stop him from biting off his tongue. He lived in torment. Sleep became a stranger. Peace became a dream. But he never gave up. With Joan by his side, the seesaw girl from their youth, he clawed his way back. Slowly, painfully, he began to heal. His memoir, The Seesaw Girl and Me, would later detail these haunting years and pay tribute to the woman who never left his side. By the early 1980s, York tried to return to acting. He appeared briefly on Simon & Simon and Fantasy Island. But a managerial error, his agent failed to register with the Screen Actors Guild, ended those dreams for good. He retired quietly and turned fully to service. Acting for life became his passion. From his modest Michigan home, he made phone calls every day, helping the homeless, urging action, offering kindness. On February 20th, 1992, Dick York passed away from complications related to emphysema. He was 63. After his death, the home on Belding Road where he had once fought to make a difference was left behind. It fell into disrepair. Eventually, it was demolished. A structure lost to time. A man who loved deeply, fought bravely, and never gave up on humanity. But his legacy, that remains, not just as Darrin Stephens on Bewitched, but as a man who turned suffering into service. Dick York's story reminds us that behind every smile we see on screen, there may be a battle we don't know about. What do you remember most about Dick York? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story moving, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of the stars who made us laugh, and the lives they lived when the lights went out.